Before kings ruled the earth, the gods chose the forest as their grave. For thousands of years, humanity feared the ancient woods beyond the mountains, because something old still slept beneath the forest. The elders spoke of forgotten gods buried beneath the earth. Gods so ancient that even time itself abandoned their names. And deep within the woods, those giants still watched humanity in silence. But one hunter was brave enough to enter the forbidden forest. His name was VAELOR. And on that night, the forest whispered his name for the very first time. The trees themselves had begun to awaken. Deep inside the cursed forest, the forgotten gods still remained buried beneath roots and stone. For thousands of years, they slept silently beneath the endless rain and darkness. But on that night, something inside the forest finally began to awaken. The forest had hidden the ancient gods from humanity since the beginning of civilization. But beneath the roots and stone, their power had never truly disappeared. And as the storm grew stronger, the sleeping giants slowly began opening their eyes. Far from the safety of his village, VAELOR continued following the whispers deeper into the woods. The deeper he traveled, the older and stranger the forest became around him. And from somewhere deep within the darkness, unseen voices continued calling his name. At the heart of the cursed forest, VAELOR finally discovered the forgotten temple of the gods. And in that terrible moment, the hunter realized humanity was never alone inside the forest. The temple had remained hidden beneath the forest long before the first human kingdom was ever built. And across the sacred stones, the ancient language of the gods slowly awakened once again. But with every step deeper into the ruins, the hunter could feel the forest watching him. The roots beneath the earth stretched endlessly, like veins inside a living creature. And somewhere far below the temple, something ancient was still alive. The deeper he descended beneath the forest, the more impossible the truth became. Hidden beneath the sacred forest, a colossal heart continued beating inside the darkness. It was not the heart of a beast, but the heart of the forest itself. And for the very first time, the hunter understood the forest was alive. Beyond the temple, an ancient mountain slept beneath endless mist and rain. And when the storm flashed across the heavens, VAELOR finally saw the face hidden inside the mountain. But the mountain was not merely stone. Something enormous still slept beneath the earth. At the center of the cursed forest stood the sacred tree, worshipped by the ancient tribes. Its roots stretched beneath the entire forest, like the veins of an ancient god. And as he approached the sacred tree, the whispers inside the forest grew louder than ever before. The forbidden symbols of the old gods began appearing everywhere throughout the forest. Symbols forgotten by humanity for thousands of years suddenly returned beneath the storm. And the moment VAELOR touched the sacred symbol, the entire forest suddenly awakened. Deep inside the woods, entire villages had vanished without leaving a single trace behind. The silence inside the lost village felt older than death itself. And somewhere beyond the fog, unseen voices continued whispering human names into the darkness. The deeper VAELOR traveled, the more the forest began behaving like a living creature. And somewhere below the earth, something ancient had finally begun to wake. Even the roots beneath his feet twisted and moved, as though they could feel his presence. Hidden beneath centuries of rain and roots, the body of a fallen god rested silently in the darkness. The ancient tribes once believed this god died during a war older than humanity itself. But standing before the giant corpse, VAELOR realized the god was not truly dead. And then, across the cursed forest, the sleeping gods finally opened their eyes together. And for the first time in history, humanity stood face to face with the ancient gods once again. The forest trembled violently as the forgotten giants returned from their endless sleep. The entire forest transformed into something alive beneath the storm-filled heavens. The trees no longer obeyed the laws of nature, but the will of the awakened gods. And as the forest awakened completely, the hunter became trapped inside a living nightmare. At the center of the ancient woods stood the final temple, where the oldest gods still slept. The sacred gates opened slowly, as though the forest itself had been waiting for VAELOR to arrive. And beneath the gaze of the ancient gods, the hunter stepped into the final sanctuary. Far beneath the earth, the last god finally began rising from its endless sleep. Its eyes burned with the same ancient light that once ruled the world before humanity existed. And as the giant stood beneath the storm, the forest bowed before its creator. The awakening of the gods shattered the balance of the world forever. The sacred forest consumed everything humanity had built around it. And before the power of the ancient gods, mankind suddenly became small and powerless once again. From the heart of the forest emerged the god of roots, oldest among the forgotten gods. Its body carried the life of the forest itself, ancient, eternal, and impossible to destroy. And beneath the dying sky, the ancient god reclaimed the world humanity once believed belonged to them. The last survivors finally understood humanity had never ruled the world at all. The ancient giants reclaimed the earth they had abandoned thousands of years before. And beneath the gaze of the awakened gods, the age of humanity quietly came to an end. And deep within the cursed forest, the gods continued watching humanity from the darkness forever.